Hello and welcome back to the Bald Book Geek. I'm the host of the show. My name is Will, and like Scrub and Do the Usual, all of my links are down below, so I hope you guys enjoy. So, this is how not to play D&D, and what not to do. And this story is hilarious, but I want to talk about it. It's a friend on Twitter posted this, and I've covered up one of the people involved, because privacy and just overall weird vibe coming from her. But that's a whole different discussion. So, first we'll read that out. This vile person was a player in my last game on my old podcast. She sat through every single session start to finish without any issue, and joked along with me and the two other players that were in the game as well. Suddenly, when the last session was over, she began a tirade of how I was god-modding the game the entire time and how many of the jokes made her uncomfortable despite the jokes being about fictional characters. I allowed her to play because we were at one point friends in the same Discord server. Then she took part in a slander campaign. After that was done against me for my personal values and beliefs. Remember everyone, gatekeeping is good. My take from that is clout farming. Clout farming is a phenomenon where people will interact and engage and then try and destroy you afterwards. They get into your circle. It's very manipulative and it's very cringy. And I've seen too much of it in my life. I see it with BookTube, I see it with every online community you can imagine. And seeing it in tabletop spaces is bizarre to witness. My take from this is that this person they're talking about, whose identity is completely based around porn, which is bizarre, is that they weren't interested in the game. They were looking for everything remotely problematic. They were looking for a reason to cancel. That's it. They were looking for that reason. It's just this bizarre... It's a bizarre bubble to witness, and I've seen it once as an onlooker through a game that I played. And it was the person that tried to cancel my friend. It all came out they were jealous of his wife and only went after them when they found out they were married, considering there had been almost no interaction between them. There had been no DMs, no conversation, and no people. It's just this very bizarre bubble, and it all got outed. And then this person started sending threats to unalive his wife. To his wife. Seriously. It was bizarre. But other people just do it because they want the attention, they want the clout, they want the adrenaline, they want that. They don't... That's it. You know, you all have a conversation, and when people come into games that I play, I've never really been a dungeon master or a storyteller in anything. But my sort of set group, we tend to play a very serious and very dark game of what we play, be it D&D, be it Vampire the Masquerade, be it anything. Our games tend to be quite dark, and it's, you know, if you have a problem with that, you're not going to be on the table. And if you start having problems with that midway through, you're not going to be on the table. We don't really do the humoury, funny stuff. I don't know why, it's just a pattern we fell into. But other side of this is how not to play D&D, and my belief is, like, if you are using the D&D table as a place to get some clout on the internet, or as a therapy board, that's a thing that annoys me, by the way. If you're using D&D as therapy or tabletop as a therapy session, there is a problem, and it shows, and it's frustrating, because it hits a point where you look at it and you think, what the hell? What the hell is happening? And it makes everyone uncomfortable if you're using it as therapy, and it's very obvious when people are, and it can be very weird. And I had one game where we had a person in and they were clearly using it as a therapy session, and what happened to them was horrifying. I'm not going to go into details because private, but it didn't need to be on the table, and it got very strange, to say the least, on the subject. Or people that think the game is going to be like playing Critical Role, that the Mercer effect is real. Well, actually no, the Critical Role effect is real. I think that's a better way of saying it. But people like this is the reason gatekeeping and so on should be used. Because if people are coming out and creating drama after completing the sessions, finishing the game, there's obviously a problem. They obviously wanted to play the game in the first place. They just played along to get some attention. And it does frustrate me, because I don't like gatekeeping, but sometimes you have to. And I've had a few nasty messages from people going, why wasn't I allowed to join? Because of your history and because of the initial conversation. We want a drama-free game where we're going to have fun, and you obviously weren't interested in that. And it's true. Unfortunately, this is becoming more and more common, and we're seeing it more across the board. There was an attempted doxing thing not that long ago by middle-aged Karen Rings a Power fan on Twitter that was bizarre to witness, which was illegal, by the way. But yeah, you kind of watch this kind of thing go down, and you kind of sit there like, why? But this is how not to play D&D. If you're playing D&D just to get some clout on the internet, or as a therapy session to work out your issues in real life, take it away from the table. It's not difficult. It's not at all. And it just frustrates me, because I've seen many good games ruined by people doing this. And people have lost their livelihoods over this, because harassment campaigns become doxing. Doxing becomes messages to work and colleagues and so on. Like, there is a clear problem with these people. And it's why we need to be very selective who we let on our tables, who we let play, and why we play. Video games, tabletop, whatever, it doesn't matter. I have a very small group of friends that we play very regularly together, and we keep it that way. And if someone new comes in, there is a vetting process. You might be there for the first few sessions, but if you're causing problems or being destructive, you are out. And it's very simple. There is no if, buts, and maybes. We had one person in our game that was clearly not well, and we did end up calling the emergency services in that person's area, because it was very clear they were going to do something stupid, and they did something stupid, and they're luckily okay, and have come back into our gaming sessions and so on, because mental health is extremely can be very dangerous and very dark. But there are some moments where you just think, take a step back. This is not your therapy. This is not your place to farm clout, and this is not your place to do anything like that. We keep everything very anonymous as well. That's a whole thing. Like, it's not linked to anything that I do here, name-wise or account-wise. But the whole experience of watching people do this, it's destructive, and it's bad for the hobby. And it's people like this are destroying the hobby, unfortunately, because they just see it what they can get out of it, rather than wanting just to play a game and have fun. And that's the ultimate thing. How you should play D&D and tabletop is you want to sit down and have fun. That's it. That's all you have to do. And realise that not everyone on the table is going to agree with you. Not everyone is going to hold your hand. Not everyone is going to pat you on the head and tell you you're a good boy or good girl. That you are just going... You have to look at that and go from there. So, as always, I will leave it here. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys later. I hope you had a wonderful New Year.